Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next game in the 1987 American League replay. We're at the final game of May the 9th, which was a Saturday in 1987. So that'll finish out this date. The series for all these teams will continue on May the 10th, which is a Sunday, be the final game of all those series. And then on May 11th, which is a Monday, they will start new opponents. But right now, we're in the finishing thralls of game two of three-game series. Game number 198 on the total season, and it's the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Texas Rangers. Starting pitching matchup, Ed Correa for the Rangers and Dave Stieb for the Blue Jays. And as I scan back at previous score sheets, this was the previous game in the series where Toronto put up 7 runs in the third inning off of Jose Guzman and won that game by the score of 10-7. So there are 2 guys for Texas that are unavailable today based on that pitching performance because they had to cover 7 innings in their bullpen. So Ron Meredith and Greg Harris are both having to rest today because they pitched so many innings. Mark Eichhorn pitched 2 innings for the Blue Jays, so he can pitch, but he would be the last guy we would choose. We'd go to somebody else other than that. But that's what happened, and this was the game that Jesse Barfield hit 3 home runs in. So that's what happened in the previous game, and you'll know why certain guys are not available. So again, for Texas, Ron Meredith and Greg Harris are unavailable. So that means they're down to 3 bullpen arms today. So they are hoping Ed Correa can give them some innings because you got Mahorsic, Williams, and Loyne. That's it. I mean, to be realistic, Greg Harris pitched 3 innings. You don't usually see a guy pitch 3 innings and come back and pitch the next day. So, an emergency situation, maybe, but to be realistic, I don't think that's a good move to make. So we'll try to stick with what's more realistic because to me, Strat-O-Matic is all about realism. All right, look at the records for each of these teams. Toronto is 16-10, and Texas is 11-14. Correa comes into the game with a record of 2-1. Hello, Philip. And Stieb comes in with a record of 3-1. Toronto will have a field day on Correa. He's a +7 hold, so no matter what slot was, it wasn't going to change anything. Slot's actually a +1, so it makes it a +8, but +5 is all you can have. Stieb, on the other hand, is a -2 and Witt's a 0, so not that Texas would run a whole lot, but you never know. Texas does have some interesting lineup changes. They do have Gino Petralli, normally a catcher, playing third base in this one, so no Steve Buechele. And Jerry Brown's not in the starting lineup. Jeff Kunkel will be playing second base for them. Only thing a little bit different on the Blue Jays is they have Garth Orge playing second base in this one, and they've moved Fred McGriff at DH way up to the third position, so that's a little bit different as well. But other than that, it's pretty standard fare, I would say. So if we look closer at Ed Correa, he's got a fatigue of 5, so they're going to really need some good outings from Correa to try to eat some innings. Mike Loyne is their designated long relief man / mop-up man, so he may be called on to eat some innings. One thing about Correa as well, his wild pitch range is a 20, so if we get a wild pitch chance, it's automatic. His balk is a 0, but that wild pitch 20 is not going to help their cause, and Don Slott's pass ball rating is a 16. So that's also not going to help the cause. So total for Ed Correa, despite his 2-1 record, his ERA is 7.11. In real world, it was 7.59, so he's not too far off. 25 innings pitched, 22 hits, 22 walks, and 19 strikeouts. He's also given up 7 long balls in 25 innings. That's been a downfall of his as well. Conversely, for the Blue Jays, Tony Fernandez will lead off hitting .355. No homers, 5 driven in. He at .322 in the real world. And we're underway from deep in the heart of Texas. 4-3 for Correa against the left-hander. Right off the bat is a ballpark blast. However, Fernandez has weak power. It's a 1-11. That would have been a home run, but Fernandez has weak power. So it will turn only into a single. But that would have been a ballpark blast if he had normal power. But still, remember, Correa's at +5, so Fernandez is looking to get the lead and steal some bases. Needs a 6 or a 7. And he gets the 7, so he's right there on the money. That's an 18. -2 from me is a 16, but the +5 takes it to a 20. Actually 21, but 20 is the highest you can have. Slot's a T rating of 5, so they'll take a chance that they don't roll a 1, 2, or 3. And they don't. It will be a straight stolen base for Tony Fernandez. Pretty easy, like stealing candy from a baby. And Fernandez will reach on the stolen base. He will not be held at second, by the way. Here's Lloyd Moseby. Moseby checks in, hitting .298. 7 homers, 25 driven in. He hit .282 real world. That's a 1, so a chance of a wild pitch for Correa. And we already said his wild pitch rating's a 20, so it's automatic. So Correa will wild pitch Fernandez over to third base. So Correa off to a very rough start. Infield for Texas is back. They need outs. They want to prevent a big inning. If they can get out of here with just 1 run, they'll feel lucky. 3-9. That's a single, so it doesn't matter anyway. Moseby singles in Fernandez, and the Blue Jays take a 1-0 lead just that quickly. Could be a long day for Bobby Valentine and the Rangers. Moseby for stealing. 2 through 5 gets him the lead. Does not get the lead. He could think about using his secondary numbers, which are 13, -4 being held be a 9, plus the 5 would be a 14. 1 to 14, they're gonna go for it. And he's in there, stolen base, despite not having a good lead, because the mechanics for Texas are just so bad that Moseby steals second even without a good lead. That'll bring up McGriff. McGriff, the designated hitter, hitting .226, 3 homers, 7 driven in. He hit .247 real world. That's a 6-7, and that's going to be a 1 to 4 single. And else he lines to second. That's a 7. So he lines it hard right to Kunkel for out number 1. So 1 away, and that brings up George Bell. And Bell hitting .262, 8 homers, 25 driven in. He hit .308 real world. Nothing on the Havoc. 5-5, and that's a ground ball second base X. We're looking at Kunkel. He's not very good. He is a 3E41 is Mr. Kunkel. 3E41. 3 and a 17, though. Should be pretty good. 3 and a 17 for a second baseman is a G1. But with the runner at second, he's going to automatically get third. But now we're checking about this E41 business. That's pretty high for a second baseman. Not too bad, though. 11, 13, 3, 17, and 18. I don't really count these because they're not going to come up very often. It's the 11 and 13 that's going to be the killer. And he gets by with it with a 14. So he does make the play, does Kunkel, for out number 2. But Moseby does take third. But still, that's a good trade-off if you are Guzman, if you are Correa. If you can get out of this thing with just 1 run, you would be tickled pink. Here's Jesse Barfield. He had the 3 home run game in this last game of the series. So he's coming off that hot streak of 3 home runs. On the season, he is hitting .308, tied for the league leading homers with 11. RBIs 30. He hit .263 real world. 1-5, and he's going to ground to short. And just like that, Correa escapes, just allowing the 1 run. Definitely has to feel like a major victory there, holding Toronto just to the 1 run. Hey, Ronnie, how you doing? I really want to get out and work in the yard, but tomorrow might be a little bit better day. And next week it's going to be in the upper 90s all week long next week. I really get a heat wave coming, so I'm not going to go out there and torture myself. So I'll wait till it cools down a little bit to work more. I'll just do some things around the house that need to get done. And in between, play some Strat and relax. And I was going to be, I was going to be, I don't know what the right word is, sarcastic, satire. I don't know what you want to call it. But I was, in the title of this video, I was going to put on there Bank Shot Basketball unboxing, first look, cutting corners, just to go off what the recent craze has been on YouTube in this genre. So, but I decided to stick with the original. All right, so here's Dave Stieb. He's 3-1 with a 4.58 earned run average, 35 innings pitched, 33 hits, 20 walks, and 17 strikeouts. Leading off would be Odom McDowell. He's had a rough start. He's hitting 184, a homer, 3 driven in. He hit 241 real world. 2-4, and that's going to be a ground ball to Fernandez, and that's easily taken care of. 1 away. We'll get rain here, but it's going to end up being thunderstorms with, strong winds and stuff. It's not going to be the old April steady rain that would help, help things out. These are going to be gully washers. All right, here's Scott Fletcher, but welcome to summer. 295, no homers, 14 driven in, especially in Virginia. 287 is his average real world. 3-7, and that's a strikeout. First strikeout for Stieb. 2 away for Pete O'Brien, first baseman. O'Brien on the replay hitting 341, 6 homers, 17 driven in. He hit 286 real world. 3-5, and that's a base on balls. First base runner for Texas. O'Brien not really a threat to go anywhere, will not be held. And here comes Mr. Incaviglia. And Incaviglia hitting 207, 4 homers, 13 driven in. He's struggling. He hit 271 real world. Trying to get him right his ship. 4-4, and that's a catcher X. We're looking at Witt. He's a 2E2. 2 and an E2. 2 and a 1. That's bad news for a catcher. Anytime you get the double die coming up like that. So a 2 and a 1 is going to be an infield single, unless something else happens. His E rating is a 4. I'm sorry, it's a 2. And that's a 7. No error there. So W/S. With runners on base, the pitcher uncorks a wild pitch. All runners advance 1 base and play resumes. Okay, so it won't be a single. It'll actually be a wild pitch. Wild pitch from Stieb. So no single yet, just a wild pitch, and Incaviglia steps back in the plate. I think Incaviglia would have rather had the single, but that's just the way it goes. Stieb to Incaviglia. 2-6, and he struck him out, and that's going to end the inning. Second strikeout for Stieb here in the first inning. After 1, it's Toronto 1, Texas nothing. And that'll bring up Mr. Correa. And he'll be facing Willie Upshaw for the Blue Jays. Upshaw, one of the few Blue Jays who are struggling. He's only hitting a .192, no homers, 7 driven in. He hit 244 real world with 15 home runs. 6-9, and that's a leadoff walk. Not what Correa wanted. Got to make him earn it. Upshaw can get the lead on a 3-7. He's also caught stealing or picked off on a 9-10, but they're still going to risk it. That's a 5. He will get the lead, so he's a 15, being held as a 13, but the +5 is an 18. So 1-18, Upshaw steals it. And he does. Stolen base for Upshaw. That is the 3rd stolen base already for Toronto. They're just going to have a field day on the base paths. Upshaw at second base, nobody out for Ernie Witt, the catcher. He's hitting 257, 3 homers, 11 driven in. Hit 269 real world. Hello, Alex. Good to see you. Whoop, we got hop and dice, so let's redo this. Ernie Witt, 6-6 to Correa, struck him out. First strikeout for Correa. And that'll take us to Kelly Gruber, the third baseman. Gruber hitting .317 on the replay, 3 homers, 8 driven in. He only hit .235 real world, so he's doing better, but he's only had 41 at bats. So again, sample sizes can still be small. That's a 1. It's automatic wild pitch. Automatic wild pitch on Correa, his second wild pitch of the game. Again, came in late. His wild pitch rating is a 20, so it's automatic. That is a 1-7 for Gruber, and that's a strikeout. So second strikeout for Correa, and he's looking to possibly strand another runner at third base and get out of this mess. He's got to get back by Garth Clockwork Orge to get it done. Orge on the replay has only had 20 at bats, so he's hitting a .150 on the replay, .210 real world. No homers, 2 driven in. And Correa trying to get out of it, 5-9. Ground ball shortstop X, that's Scott Fletcher. He's a 3.26. So this could be interesting. 3-12, I think he'll get to it. In fact, I know he will. 3-12 is a G2. Now it's just a matter of the error. He's an E20, where'd he go? E26. E26 has got to avoid 12, 17, and 8. I'm not too much worried about the 17 and the 18. It's the 12 that might come up. 11, boy, just missed it. So good play for Fletcher, and that gets Correa out of the jam once again and keeps Toronto where they are, 1-0. We go to the bottom of the second. Still 1-0 Toronto, but it could have been a lot worse, obviously. Stieb will come back out, and he'll be facing Ruben Sierra, who is also tied for the league in lead in home runs with 11, tied with Barfield. And he's got 24 runs batted in, hitting .299 on the replay. He hit .263 real world, so he's doing a little bit better than average. 4-6, switch hitter batting left is another walk for Steve. That's his second base on balls. And Tabby has joined me again, but she's on the floor doing her bath, so she must have eaten some food. She's kind of doing her bath. I'm going to leave her alone. All right, Sierra, to get the lead, needs a 3, a 6, or a 6 through 8. Of course, he's picked off on an 11. -2 from Steve, so we'd be looking at a 50-50 prop, or actually a 55% chance of getting the steal. They're going to go ahead and try for the lead. That's a 5, so he does not get the lead. He needed a 3 or a 6, 7, 8, so the 5 does not get him the lead, so he will hold. And here's Larry Parrish, the designated hitter in this one. And Parrish on the replay hitting .247, 5 homers, 14 driven in. Hit .268 real world. 2-9, and that's a ground ball shortstop A. It's going to be a 6-4-3 double play. And so by not getting the lead and not being able to steal, they ground into the double play. Pitcher's best friend. And we go now with 2 outs and the bases empty to Gino Petralli, normally a catcher, but did play some third base. In fact, according to this, I guess these are listed by what he played most often. So I guess third base was his second most fielded position, 4E37. But Gino Petralli hitting .296, no homers, 6 driven in. Hit .302 real world. 6-4, switch hitter batting left is a fly ball to center, and Mosby puts it away. And that's going to do it for the Rangers. At the end of 2, we got a 1-0 ball game. But Correa definitely has been on the ropes both innings. Hello, Mr. Clay, and hello, Mr. Sportsman Z. I saw you got the unboxing on the dead ball. I would love if Strat would do a whole dead ball season, like on 1908 or something like that. If they can rate them for the gems, they ought to be able to rate them for a full season. That would be an instant purchase for me if they did 1908 or 1919, either one. In the dead ball area, I would jump all over it. Not really a fan of the gems. I just like to do season stuff, but that's me. I'm weird. So, all right, here's Tony Fernandez. He walked, stole second, and scored his first time up. It's a 411, and that is a ballpark single check, which is a 1 to 11. That's a 10. It'll be a single. So Tony Fernandez starts out with a base hit. And again, he will be trying to get that that lead on that +5 hold rating. So he needs a 6 or a 7. He gets the 7. He's going to go again. He's already stolen the base. He's going to go again, and it's almost automatic. It's really a 1 to 19, and he will steal it. Second stolen base of the game for Fernandez. Fourth stolen base for Toronto already. When you have a +7 hold as a pitcher, you're just going to get run on. There's no other way around it. Hello, Chuck. Good to see you. Here is, and Chuck, Tabby is here. She's just resting quietly. I am not going to disturb her. I don't want to wake a sleeping giant, as they say. So here's Mosby. 3-5, and that's a 1 for a triple. 2 to 20 is a single. It's 2 stars. That will score Fernandez. And boy, Toronto off to a 2-0 lead. And Correa, they really need him to get some innings, because as I showed earlier when we first started, that in the previous game, Ron Meredith pitched 4 innings. Greg Harris pitched 3 innings. So they're both unavailable. And Texas only has 3 relievers that are really available in this game. So they don't want to get out of hand. Prematurely move Mosby when I can be going for the lead again. We're just going to, if they're going to allow the steals, we'll try them. So 4, he gets the lead again. So it's again 19. So it's almost automatic. And it is stolen base number 5 for Toronto. Almost feel like I'm gaming the system here, but hey, what the numbers say, and they get the lead. So if they earn the lead, why not go for it? Here's McGriff. 4-3. That's a ballpark blast. It's 1 to 11, and that is an 11. That is gone. And of course, he has normal power. He's Fred McGriff. It's a 2-run shot from Fred McGriff, and the Devil Die D20 is coming up roses for the Blue Jays in this game. Look at it again. 2-5. I'm sorry, 4-3 rather. Wait a minute. Why is it? I know it was a 4-5. I think the blue. No, now it's looking weird. Now I'm thinking 4-3. Let me go back and look. Maybe I misread something. Did I misread the dice is the question. So let me go back and look here. I want to get it right. I don't want to mess something up. So let me look at this roll and see exactly what happened. So we go back to the replay. So it's not on the computer, it's on my phone. So I'm just rewatching here to see what the original roll was. Because I said it is a 4-3, so I did misread it. It's 4. I read it as a 4-5. My bad. It was a 4-3 roll. So let's fix this. I want to be accurate. Not that Toronto needs any more help. They're already crushing it as it is. So it was a 4-3, which is a ground ball second base X. That's a whole different story. We know Mosby's going to take third base on the ground ball to second, but it is a ground ball second base X. However, it is Kunkel, and he's pretty bad, 3E41. So we'll see what happens. 3 and a 14 is going to be a G2, so he'll get to it. But the E41, 11, 13, 317, and 18. And that's a 10. He makes the play. So it's a good play for Kunkel. They get the second out. Well, actually the first out, rather. So thought something was unusual about that. I want to be accurate. Since I'm keeping season stats, I want to be accurate with these things. So what looked to be a 2-run homer has turned into a ground ball second base X for the out. Morning midlife. So now with 1 out and a runner at third, the infield is going to come in, and they will be having to deal with George Bell. That's not a promising situation to pitch to George Bell with the infield in. Correa to Bell. 2-12, and that's a ground ball shortstop B with the infield in. They're going to throw the runner out at the plate because that's just what happens when you get in that situation. Get my little chart here just so you know I'm not making it up. Show you exactly what I'm using. Ground ball shortstop B. Runner at third is a number 7. Batter safe, lead runner is out. So they throw out. Mosby at the plate is going to go 6-2 on the fielder's choice by Bell. I'll tell you, Correa must be living right because he should be out of this game as bad as he has pitched. But he's catching some breaks. And here's Barfield now with 2 outs and a runner at first in George Bell, who is not going to be held and not going to try for any leads. 5-10, and that is a fly ball center field X. Odabe McDowell's a 3-5. 3 and a 6, that's iffy. 3 and a 6 is a single 2 stars, so it definitely was iffy. That's going to move Bell to third base. And we're checking for the error on McDowell. He's an E5. 4, 16, and 17. Have to avoid those numbers. And he does, but it's going to be a single 2 stars, and that will put runners at first and third with 2 outs. Clutch situation. Barfield will not be held. Here's Upshaw. Upshaw walked his first time up. 5-7, and he's going to hit a ground ball to short, and we're looking at Fletcher. 3E26. 3 and a 15, he'll get to it. It's the E26 that's concerning. So on the E26, well, that's not too bad. That's just basically the 12 because 17 and 18 hardly ever come up. And he gets by with it, so nice play. They limit to 1 run. And I tell you, the way Correa has pitched to only be down 2-0 is kind of remarkable, actually. So we go to the bottom of the third, still 2-0. And the way Texas can hit, I mean, 2 runs is almost nothing for them, although Stieb is a pretty good pitcher. So Stieb will be facing Don Slaught, Jeff Kunkel, and Odabe McDowell. Slaught on the replay is hitting, whoops, oh, I lost my screen there for a second. Slaught is hitting 299, 5 homers, 12 driven in, so he's way above his skis. He only hit 224 real world. It's a 1-7, and that is a strikeout. Struck him out. That is strikeout number 3 for Mr. Stieb. And that'll bring up Jeff Kunkel. Kunkel only had 32 at-bats on the season. Come on, Strat. Come on. Strat computer wants to hang up on me for. Oh, there we go. Now we're going. All right, so Kunkel, this will be his first at-bat of the season. He has not had an at-bat. You can see the stats on his card. 219 average and 32 at-bats, 1 home run, 2 runs batted in. But this is his first official at-bat of the season. 1-4, and he's going to single to center field. So he's batting 1,000. Jeff Kunkel. Not much of a base runner, so he will not be held. Here's Odabe Young again, McDowell. 3-6 for McDowell, and he's going to draw a base on balls. So all of a sudden, a 2-out rally, or a 1-out rally, rather, by the Rangers. 2 on, only 1 out for Scott Fletcher. They can couple base hits here, and they're going to be threatening. 5-5. It's a fly to center, though. That's out number 2. So now it comes down to a clutch situation for the first baseman, Pete O'Brien. He walked his first time up. In the clutch, he loses a single in 1-2, and that's it. Everything else is neutral. 2-8, and that's a ground ball to short. That's going to end the inning. So Steve pitches out of a little bit of trouble. And at the end of 3, score remains Toronto 2 and Texas nothing. Final game of the May 9th schedule, which was a Saturday evening in real world. The May 10th schedule will be all Sunday afternoon games, mostly. And then when we get to the 11th, there'll be a new series to start, new opponents. So Ernie Witt steps to the plate against Mr. Correa. 5-4 is a fly ball center field X. Again, we're at Odeby McDowell, a 3E5. 3-12, he'll get to it. E5, center field. Center fielder E5. He has to avoid 4, 16, and 17, which he does. So it's good play for McDowell. Tires Ernie Witt. 1 away for Kelly Gruber. Gruber struck out his first time up. That's a 4-6, and that is a 1-7 single, and that's a 1. The double die comes up as a 1 again. Low number, as usual. Seems to be the case. No matter what color D20 I use, they always come up the same with this low number stuff. Here's Garth Orge. Gruber he will be held, actually. Gruber's going to try to get the lead. So let me re-roll this to get the lead. I forgot to do that. Needs a 4 or a 5. He gets the lead. No, he does not. He needs a 4. That was just a 3. So he can't get the lead. So never mind. He'll stay put. And here's Garth Orge. 5-8 is another walk. So why try to steal when the pitcher's going to give it to you? On a base on balls. And that will be the 3rd base on balls, I believe. Actually, it might be the 4th. No, it looks like the 3rd walk issued by Correa. I'm sure it won't be his last. So 1st and 2nd, 1 out. Back to the top of the order, Fernandez. He's 2 for 2. It's a 5-6 switch hitter. He's going to strike out this time. Big strikeout for Correa, his 3rd of the game. That's a huge strikeout. Now I can get out of it by getting Lloyd Moseby. Although that's easier said than done. Mosby's 2 for 2 with a couple of stolen bases. 2-5, and he's going to hit a ground ball to second. Going to end the inning. So Correa hanging in there. Give him credit for that. Doesn't have his best stuff, obviously. But he's making it through. And keeps his team in the game at 2-0. Stieb back out. Will be facing Incaviglia, Sierra, and Parrish for the Strangers. Incaviglia, nothing new there. He struck out his first time up. Only struck out 168 times in real world. 6-7. It's a ground ball second base X. We're looking at Orge, a 4E13. Toronto never figured out their second base thing in this season. That's a 1. That's going to get through for a base hit. E13. E13 and an 11 should be all right. Yep, 14, really only big error there. So it is a base hit for Incaviglia, as Orge couldn't get it. They went from Sharperson to Orge, and I think they finally, eventually settled in on Nelson Liriano, but that was later in the season. But early in the season, second base was always their weak spot. Here's Sierra. 5-7, switch hitter batting left. It's a 1-3 single. Anything else, he lines to second, and that will be a line out to Orge. 1 away. For Larry Parrish, the DH. Getting to a double play his first time up. They're trying to avoid that this time. 6-9, and he does. 1-4 is a triple. 5-20 is a double. That'll be a double for Larry Parrish. It's assumed to go to center field when it's not listed. Center fielder Arm Moseby is a 0. Runner Incaviglia, though, is only a 10. He wasn't being held, makes him an 11. There are not 2 outs, so they will hold him at third base. Second, third, 1 out. The tying runs are now in scoring position for Gino Petralli. Hey, Scooney, how you doing? Good morning to you. Gino Petralli. Infield is back. They'll give up a run to get an out. 6-7, and that's a ground ball second base X. So again, we're going to Orange, not very good. 4 and a 5 is probably going to get through for a hit. 4 and a 5 is single 1 star, so it will definitely score in Cavilla. And that will also send Parrish to third base. But now we're checking the error, because an error on Orange could score the runner Parrish. Again, E13 has really got to avoid that 14. I don't think the 3 and 18 are going to really be factors. And it's not going to be an error there, so it'll be a base hit, and that will move Parrish to third base, cuts the lead to 2-1. So just like that, Texas right back in this game when it seemed like all was lost earlier on. Here's Slot, runners at the corners. They're going to play for the double play. Slot's a good double play candidate. 5-5, and that is a fly ball center field B. It's a sacrifice fly for Don Slot. And that will score Parrish to tie the game at 2. 8 looks terrible there, doesn't it? Okay, well, it's going to tie the game at 2 on a sacrifice fly. Just that quickly. Brings up Kunkel with Petrali at first and 2 outs. 3-6, and he's going to strike out. So he's no longer batting 1,000. He's batting 500. But 2 runs for Texas. And they have tied this ball game for Steve. That is strikeout number 1, 2. I think that's number 3 for him. I'm not mistaken. I'm sorry, it's number 4. Strikeout number 4. Hello, Roger. Good to see you. All right, so after 4 complete, we are tied at 2, but this is the fatigue inning for Correa. He's listed as a 5 as a starter. So, and again, Texas shortened their bullpen by 2 arms. They only got 3 relievers, so they need Correa to go as long as he possibly can. Mike Loynd is their designated long reliever, but other than that, they got Mahorsic and the wild thing Mitch Williams, and that's it. All right, here's McGriff. 4-10, and that is an in-home run chance, 1-14. That's gone. Fred McGriff. Look at it here, and he definitely has normal power. 4-10, in-home run chance, 1-14. That's a 9. So McGriff thought he had a home run last time when I kind of misread the card and corrected it. But he gets the home run now. And from Griff, that is his 4th home run of the season, 8th RBI. And Toronto reclaims the lead just that quickly, 3-2. And we'll go over to George Bell. 1-6 for Bell, and that's a home run chance, 1-13, and that's gone. So back-to-back jacks. So we say Correa needs to stick in the game and hang around and give him some distance. He gets blasted for 2 home runs for Bell. That's home run number 9 and RBI number 26. And now Correa is 1 batter reaching away from being fatigued. Here is Barfield. 6-4. That's a ballpark single check, 1-11, but that's a 20. So that will be a line out to short. So Barfield lines out. 1 away. So even the outs are being hit hard. Here's Upshaw. 6-6, and that's another strikeout. He's not tired yet. He hasn't quite hit fatigue. So the strikeout's going to stand. And he needs that too. They need to get him through this inning. If they can give him 6 innings, they'll probably be happy. Here's Ernie Witt. And with 2 outs and the bases clear, he should be able to get through the inning. 4-9. And as soon as I say that, here comes a base hit for Witt. And now Correa is tired, but of course, that doesn't mean you got to pull him right away. They're going to go ahead and try to get him to get that 3rd out. But now the dots come into play. Got to watch out for those dots. Here's Gruber. Fortunately, he's facing the bottom of the order. That's a 2, chance of a pass ball or a balk. That's a pass ball chance, and Slot's pass ball rating's a 16. And that will be a pass ball on Slot. So Slot with the pass ball. It's going to put the runner in scoring position. And Gruber. Chance to do something in the clutch. He loses a couple of hits on 3-8 and 3-9 and also on 2-3. It's a 6-5, and that's a strikeout, but it's a dot, so that's going to turn to a single 2 stars because of the fatigue. So they couldn't get him through the inning the way they wanted to. That definitely cost them right there. The pass ball and then the fatigue cost them. Cost them a run. It's now 5-2. 5-2 now in favor of Toronto. They're going to stick with him, try to get this last out. 2-3, and they do want to fly to right field. But 3 runs come in for Texas. That's going to be it for Correa. He's done. Correa will go 5 innings. And they will turn to Mike Loynd for long relief. Mike Tenderloin. Get the numbers on Correa, which obviously were not pretty, but it actually could have been worse. So Correa is going to go 5 innings. Probably get saddled with a loss unless Texas rallies. So Correa, let's see here. What's going on? Why is it showing 5 1/3? That doesn't make any sense. So 10 hits to go with the 5 runs. There were no errors, so they're all earned. And walks and strikeouts for Correa. 2 walks and 4 strikeouts. And Mike Loynd will be the new Texas pitcher. And he has a relief rating of 3, so he can eat some innings if they need to. But right now, Stieb is out. He's got a fatigue of 6, so he's still good to go. He'll be facing the top of the order, Odeby, McDowell, Fletcher, and O'Brien. But now 5-2, Texas trails after they just spent the previous inning tying the game. McDowell, 5-6, and that's a strikeout for Stieb. So Stieb with his 5th strikeout. Maybe he's rejuvenated by the run support. He strikes out McDowell. Here's Scott Fletcher. It's a 5-2, and it's a ground ball first base C, so I like to call that a 3-1 ground out on those ground ball Cs. So Upshaw had to field it in the hole and flips to Stieb covering for out number 2. Here's O'Brien. 2-8, and that is a ground ball to short. So 1-2-3 shutdown inning for Dave Stieb. And he didn't play around. So we go to 6. It's still 5-2 favor of the Blue Jays. And we'll get the numbers on new pitcher Mike Loynd. He's also got a +7 hold, so that's not going to help the cause any for holding runners. So we'll bring him into the game on the computer and get his numbers. Loynd on the replay. Is 2-1, no saves, an ERA of 7.32. He had a 6.1 in real world. 20 innings pitched, 26 hits, 8 walks, 15 strikeouts. He has given up 7 home runs in 20 innings of pitching. So he's been definitely bitten by the gopher ball more than one occasion. Here's Fernandez, 1-7. That's a base hit. 1-3 is a double. 4-20 is a single. So 3rd hit of the game for Tony Fernandez. And why not keep running? I mean, this is a Forrest Gump run, Forrest run game. So 6 or 7 gets in the lead. 8, he just misses it. They could try it on the 13. It'd be a 9 because it's a -4. But then the +5 be a 14. 1-14. You know what? They're going to try it. And he's got thrown out. So they got greedy. That happens sometimes when you get greedy. But they're pretty much playing with house money. So caught stealing for Fernandez. That brings up Lloyd Mosby. 2-10, and it's ground ball back to Loynd. That's out number 2. And that will send up Fred McGriff. Homered his last time up. Hello, Jeremiah. Good to see you. Stealing third, I've never really liked to do that. I guess I could try it. It's just not one of my things. I mean, if the need arose, I guess I could do it, but I don't think I've ever tried stealing third before. 1-7 is a strikeout, and that's going to end the inning. So after the caught stealing, Loin settles in. At the end of 5.5, it's still 5-2. I guess I could do it just to show how it's done or how it's attempted, but we'll have to wait and see if that situation comes up. Now we're in the 6th, though. Dave Stieb is going to be subject to fatigue now, so we keep an eye on his base runners allowed. He'll be facing Incaviglia. 6-3, and that's a fly ball right field X, so we're looking at Barfield. He's a 1, so you know he's going to get to it with a 1. It's just an E3 that they have to be concerned about, and that's not much of a concern. E3 and a 7, I don't see where that would be a problem whatsoever, but you never know. E3, no, it has to be 15-3 or 18 to be an error, so good play for Barfield. 1 away, and here's Ruben Sierra. 4-7, switch hitter is a walk, so that's the first ding for Stieb to get that walk, and I believe that is his 4th walk. So he's had a little bit of control issues. Down by 3 runs, Sierra is not going to try to steal, particularly with that -2 hold. Here's Parrish. .48, and that's going to be a strikeout. There's a dot there, but he's not tired yet. Sixth strikeout for Stieb. And that will send us to Gino Petralli. Again, a rare time playing third base for Petralli, giving Buechele the day off. 5-9, and that's a fly to center. That's going to end the inning. So Stieb will keep most of his fatigue for the 7th inning. We played 6. It's still 5-2 ball game. Loin in his 2nd inning of relief will be facing Bell, Barfield, and Upshaw. I tell you what, the Blue Jays had a powerful lineup. I really do think they were probably, all things considered, they were probably the best team in the American League in '87. They just didn't win the pennant. They lost, against Detroit at the end. But boy, hard to argue the way Toronto can hit and pitch. All right, here's Loin. 1-11, and that's a hit by pitch. So Loin plunks him right after he hit the home run his previous at bat. I don't know if that was a message or not. Bell not too happy about it. But cooler heads prevail, and we go on. And I guess the argument can be made if they were the best team in the American League, they would have won the World Series or won the pennant. They didn't do it. So, all right, here's Barfield. 2-4, and that's a ground ball. That's a ballpark single check. That's going to take away a potential ground ball to short. B, it's going to be an 18. It's going to be a liner to short. So Barfield lines it to short. 1 away for Willie Upshaw. He's the one Blue Jay that's been struggling the whole season. 5-6, struggle no more. If 1-4 is a double, that's going to be a single with 2 stars. And that will put runners at the corners with only 1 out. And back come the Blue Jays again. Ernie Witt, the batter. He is a double play candidate, so they will play the infield back for the double play. Try to turn 2, get out of the inning. 2-7, and it's a good thing they did, because if they played in, that would have been a base hit. But the ground ball first base A is a 3-6-3 double play. So that time, Bobby Valentine pulled the right trigger. Did not play in. And because of that, they turned the double play. Get out of the inning. I would say that was just because of my great managing, but that would be repetitious because you already know that. No sense belaboring that point. So we go to the bottom of the 7th with the score 5-2. Stieb has 1 knock against his point of weakness. But we are at the bottom of the 7th, and you know that means 7th inning stretch time. So it's time to stand and stretch and sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." All right, 7th inning stretch is in the books as we will get this game going, continuing. But before we do, since I don't want to move Tabby where I am, so we'll bring Tabby to the video. I just took that picture. She's sitting right next to me. There she is. So if you want to see how she's doing, she's just fine. Just sitting here relaxing and enjoying being home and being with her. So that's just where she's going on right now. So now we're ready to get back to business. The start of the bottom of the 7th. And it'll be Stieb. He's only had one ding against his point of weakness. That was a walk. So he's still going to hang in there. Here's Don Slot. We are in the 7th, so if we want to pinch hit, we can do so. Slot, only a 224 hitter, so Texas looking to use some of their bench and possibly try to get something going here. They do have some good players on the bench as far as hitting goes. Jerry Brown, the 271 hitter. Porter's 238. He ain't that great. Let's see. We could have a pinch hitter, though. I know Jerry Brown's going to hit for Kunkel. We know that much. Question is, are we going to hit for Slaughter? We're going to keep him in the game. Boy, I think we'll go ahead and let Slot hit. But Jerry Brown will be coming in for Kunkel, no doubt. To 2-8, and that is a ground ball to short, one away. But now Jerry Brown, the governor, will be pinch hitting for Kunkel and stay in the game to play second base in the 8th inning. Jerry Brown. Brown's a 3 E16, so going forward, he's an E16. For Jerry Brown, he runs at a 15. All right, so Jerry Brown will replace Kunkel and stay in the game to play second base against Mr. Stieb. And we'll get the numbers on Brown. On the replay, Jerry Brown is hitting .314 on the replay, a homer and 7 driven in, at 271 real world. 6'11", and switch hitter batting left. That's a ballpark single, but that's a 14, so he's going to line it to second base for out number 2. That'll send us to O.B. McDowell. 5-7, and that is a 1-3 single. Anything else, he lines out to second. He's going to line out to second. And Steve will continue as he has nothing against the point of weakness in that inning. And, of course, now we need to bring in Jerry Brown to play second base. So Brown's in at second base. Lloyd back out for his third inning of relief. He'll be facing the bottom of the order, Gruber, Orge, and Fernandez for the Jays. Dale Mahorsic is in relief in the bullpen for Texas, warming up just in case Lloyd runs into trouble. 2-7 for Gruber is a strikeout. So Lloyd gets the K there. Brings up Orge. 5-9, and that is another strikeout. So Lloyd getting it going against the bottom of the order, but now he's got to face Tony Fernandez, who is 3 for 4 with a couple of stolen bases and a caught stealing. 2-11, and that's a ground ball to third. Good idea to keep him off the bases. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Lloyd. He might be able to finish this game and save their bullpen. If they can get by with that, then they will have Harris and Mason ready for the final game. They'd be rested enough to come back and pitch. So Stieb going to be facing Fletcher, O'Brien, and Incavilla. Hardly order for Texas. This is the inning they need to make hay if they're going to do something. Hello, Mr. Bancroft. Late to the party. Never late to the party for Strat. As long as the game's going on, you're still in good shape. In fact, let me try to do something else real quick here. Took this new picture of Tabby. I just love the way she sits with her paws crossed like that. It's very, I can tell she's very relaxed when she sits. Of course, the room here is a mess. I got all these games laid all over the place, but that's it. I love the way she sits, and I'm right next to this perch here, so I can almost reach out and pet her from here. That's how close she is. But now she's really, boy, this is getting to be, I guess she's double relaxed now because that is her new pose. I just took that picture. That's her new pose. So she's very, very relaxed, very happy about that. She's quiet, which is even more important because that means less interruptions in the game when she's quiet. So, all right, enough of Tabby. Let's move on. Bigger and better things here. We got bigger and better things going on than this. So, Scott Fletcher is going to try to get something started for Texas. It's a 3-10, and it's a ground ball to short. So Fernandez makes the play, one away. And that'll send up Pete O'Brien, first baseman. 1-7, and that's a single to left field. Opposite field single for O'Brien. Down by 3, you got to do something. You got to get some base runners, and that's what they're doing. Here's Incavilla. Two, 4, and that's a fly to center. That's 2 away. And it's going to be up to Ruben Sierra. If he can get a long ball here, Texas right back in this game, and he's tied for the league lead with 11. See if he can do it. 6-7. Nope, it's ground ball second base X. That is Orge. He's a 4, E13, so it could sneak by for a base hit. Nope, not with an 18, it won't. E13, and that's an 8. Should be okay, I would think. E13 and an 8 for a second baseman. E13, nope, 14 is only big trouble there, so Orge does make the play to end the inning, and we completed 8 here in Texas with the score still 5-2. But kudos to Mike Lloyd for keeping his team in the game and not having to use another reliever. Save their bullpen. Coming up for Toronto will be Mosby, McGriff, and Bell. And actually what they're going to do here, Texas, they're going to make a move to the bullpen anyway. They figure 3 innings for Lloyd is enough. And this guy needs some work. So they're bringing in Mitch Williams. He hasn't pitched in a while. So they want to get him some work. even though it's a non-save situation, obviously. But the wild thing will be coming on. There are lefties to be had here, Mosby, McGriff, namely two of them. So Loind on the game itself finishes up 3 innings, 2 hits, and 3 strikeouts, nothing else. So it'll be Mosby against Williams. We'll bring Williams into the game and see what his replay numbers are. Like I said, because of Texas's not so great record, when they win, they usually win by blowout. So Williams hasn't had a whole lot of opportunities to do his saving thing. He's 0-2 with 4 saves, 6.10 earned run average, 10 innings pitched, 8 hits, 13 walks, 15 strikeouts. But to only have 10 innings pitched, and we're in the beginning of May, he should be, it's under usage. So good time to go ahead and use him. 6-9, and that's a walk, and that's the danger you have when you bring in the wild thing. Not called the wild thing for nothing. Mosby is aboard. Wild thing is a -6 hold, though, so that's going to turn things around quite a bit. Make it a -5. That'll certainly deter some of the stealing chances, although Mosby's still going to try to get the lead. He does get the lead. So 19 being held is a 17, then the -5 is a 12. So 1 to 12 is going to try to steal it. And he does, and it's a possible throwing error on Slot. His T rating is a 5. Nope, no throwing error. Just be a stolen base for Mosby. So not deterred by the good hold rating of Mitch Williams. He gets a steal, and that'll bring up McGriff. Normally they pinch hit for McGriff against the lefty, but they're ahead 5-2, so give him some at bats against the lefties. 2-11, that's a ballpark blast, and why not? That's gone. He's got normal power. That's an 11. That's a 10. Second home run of the game for the crime dog, Fred McGriff. He said, "Don't you dare pinch hit for me." Home run number 5, RBIs 9 and 10. And the wild thing not doing so well. McGriff, his second home run of the game. Probably the coup de grace on this one. It's now 7-2 favor Toronto. And that'll bring up George Bell. 4-4, and that's a fly ball center field X. McDowell is a 3-E5. 3-17, he'll get to it. E5, and that is a 9. Should be okay. E5, yep, 4, 16, 17, those are the only errors, so good play. Williams still chagrining over that McGriff home run. Here's Barfield. 3-4 against the lefties, a ground ball to short. 2 down. Stieb going for the complete game at the bottom of the inning. Toronto will have some bullpen activity in case he's runs out of gas. 3-8 against the lefty is a ground ball to second for Upshaw. And that's going to end the inning, but 2 more runs on the 2-run homer from Fred McGriff. And Toronto will take a very commanding 7-2 lead. It takes the save situation out of the equation. If you're thinking Hinkie, it's no longer a save situation. So Stieb will be out to pitch the bottom of the 9th against Parrish, Petrali, and potentially a pinch hitter for Slot. For the Jays in their bullpen, you don't want to use Hinkie in a game like this, and they used Eichhorn 2 innings the last game. So if they run into trouble, most likely it's either going to be Jeff Musselman or Jose Nunez. Those are kind of the more of the scrub type guys. So they would probably be called upon if needed. Right now it's Larry Parrish. Yep, McGriff has been watching those Tom Mansky videos and putting it to work. There are ringing endorsements right there. All right, 3-6 for Parrish, and that is a double 1-16. So leadoff double for Parrish. And maybe they're pushing Stieb too much. I don't know. They're going to leave him in there. He's not tired yet. Here's Petrali. He does have a 7-2 lead to work with, obviously. 4-6 against the lefty is a walk. And that may do it for Stieb. We'll see. They're going to pinch hit for Slot. No question about that. Slot will leave. He will be pulled, and they will bring in Curtis Wilkerson, who hits 268. So they need a good average hitter. And if miraculously, somehow, they tie the game, Darryl Porter could catch. Or they can move, actually, they'd move Petrali to catcher and move Wilkerson to third is what they would do. But Wilkerson is going to pinch hit here in the 9th for Slot. So we get the call to the bench for Curtis Wilkerson. Wilkerson on the replay is hitting 215 at bats, 3 out of 15. One of the 3 hits, though, is a triple. In real world, he hit 268 with 2 homers in 138 at bats. So Stieb to Wilkerson. 1-7, and that's a strikeout. Strikeout for Stieb. Big strikeout there. And that will bring up Jerry Brown, the governor. 2-7, and that's another walk. That's going to load the bases, and I think that's going to do it right there for Stieb. I don't see them pushing him any further than that. In fact, he just reached fatigue on that roll. And so with the lefty coming up, they will go to Jeff Musselman out of the bullpen. So Musselman will be coming on. Left-handed reliever. As Stieb goes 8 1/3 innings for Stieb. And we'll get the other numbers for Stieb to go along with that 8 1/3. 6 hits, 2 runs. We can't put the runs down because he is responsible for all 3 runners. 6 walks and 7 strikeouts. So the 6 walks were the only thing that kind of tarnished the outing a little bit. But Jeff Musselman is in. And he'll be facing Odeby McDowell, lefty on lefty matchup here in the bottom of the 9th. On the replay, Musselman is 1-0 with 1 save, but he does have an ERA of 6.35. 11 innings pitched, 9 hits, 8 walks, and 9 strikeouts. He has given up 4 long balls in 11 innings. Real world, he had a 4.15 earned run average. So McDowell is up. Do they pinch hit for McDowell is the question. He's a pretty good hitter, so I'm not sure you pinch hit for McDowell, and he does have power against lefties. So they're going to let McDowell hit against Musselman. Infield back for the double play. 3-8, and that is another walk. It's going to walk in a run. That run is charged to Stieb, but it's an RBI base on balls from Odeby McDowell. Cuts the lead to 7-3. And boy, now we are in a save situation. So looks like we're going to go to Tom Hinkie. So Musselman's going to face 1 batter, walk him, and get the heck out of town. Jimmy Williams is not going to play around. Tom Hinkie will be on. Didn't think they would need him, but they can't take the chance at this point. Getting too close now. Tying run is now at the plate. So Musselman will leave, and they will turn to their closer, Tom Hinkie, although he's had a rough season so far, at least according to Tom Hinkie standards. He's 0-3 with 4 saves and a 9.90 earned run average in the replay. 10 innings pitched, 16 hits, 7 walks, 10 strikeouts. He had a 249 in real world, but in the replay, he has struggled. He's got a 9.90 earned run average. So they're trying to right the ship here. Fletcher, your batter, infield back for the double play once again. 1-9, and that's a ground ball shortstop B. It will force out McDowell at second, but the run's going to score on the fielder's choice. Going to third is Brown, and safe at first is Fletcher on the 6-4 fielder's choice. That run is also charged to Stieb. It's now a 7-4 game. Pete O'Brien still the tying run at the plate against Hinkie. One long ball, and we would have a tie game. 5-10 is a walk. That's not going to help the cause. That's going to load the bases now for Pete Incaviglia. And now an Incaviglia slam would win the game for Texas. That's how weird this game has been. So Pete Incaviglia facing Tom Hinkie. It's the battle of two struggling players. See what they can do. Hinkie and Incaviglia. 2-5, and he struck him out to end the ball game. So Incaviglia strikes out with the bases loaded to end the ball game. And Toronto thought they had an easy one, but it ended up being a little bit more difficult than they expected. But they do pull it out. Final score of 7-4. Toronto now improves to 17-10. Texas drops to 11-15. Winning pitcher is Dave Stieb. He is now 4-1. Hinkie picks up save number 5. Losing pitcher, of course, is Ed Correa. He drops to 2-2. Mitch Williams in the ninth, 1 inning pitched, 1 hit, 2 runs, a walk and no strikeouts. So total line score for Toronto, 7 runs, 13 hits, and no errors. Texas, 4 runs, 6 hits, and no errors. Toronto left on 7. Texas left on 9. Home runs in the game. Fred McGriff hit 2 of them, his 4th and his 5th. George Bell hit his 9th for Toronto as well. So Toronto improves to 17-10. And what does that do in their standings? Because now all the games from May 9th are complete. Toronto now 17-10, pulls 2 games behind the Yankees, who are at 20-9. So really only 1 game back in the loss column. And for Texas, they drop to 11-15. That puts them 6 games behind the Oakland A's in the West. And it puts them in 5th place. So Toronto ekes one out. They thought it'd be easier than this, but that's why you play the games. You never know how they're going to turn out. And so the next games on the schedule, we'll flip the calendar over to May the 10th. We'll be at Fenway Park for the first game on May the 10th. It'll be Don Sutton against Bruce Hurst from Fenway Park. That will be tomorrow. Tonight will be inside pitch. It'll be the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Chicago Cubs from Wrigley Field. And, of course, we're getting closer to the weekend, which means season ticket baseball NBC Game of the Week 1978 style will be coming up as well. So I do thank you all for, yes, McGriff for the MVP, most definitely, no question about it. And actually, Tommy Mansky gets half an MVP because of that, because he taught him everything he knows. So thank you for spending part of your Thursday morning with me. I think it's Thursday. I lose track of days now, but I believe it's Thursday. So thank you for spending part of your Thursday morning with me as we do some morning strat, just kind of ease into the day. And I'm going to go heat up my coffee because my coffee got lukewarm now. Tabby's still doing her bath, so she's enjoying her spot. I'm just so happy. I'm tickled pink that she's back in the room with me, because for the longest time she would not come in here after Gracie passed, and now all of a sudden she seems to be okay with it. So I'm very happy about that. Can't really get on camera very much because of the my webcam is pretty much stationary. So the only way I can show her is to take a picture of it on my phone and then put the phone under the camera so you can see it that way on a still shot. But that's the only way I can really do it. But again, thank you all for spending part of your day morning with me. And tonight, again, inside pitch, Chicago Cubs, Cincinnati Reds will be the game for that. And then again, season ticket baseball would be the one after that. And actually with the inside pitch, now that I've gone through the April 22nd date of the score sheets that I wrote out manually, we're going to be moving to the Baseball Sim Research score sheets that I got from that website, donated the $5, and they come pre-filled with all the inside pitch ratings on them. So it'll be nice to use those and not have to deal with have to hand write out those ratings anymore. Save me some time. It's gonna be Pat Zachary in his Mets uniform against Bill Bonham for the Cubs. That's going to be the game tonight, probably around 8 o'clock or so. Not to disappoint you, but there won't be any bank shot basketball on my channel, and you won't see me rounding any corners on my channel. But hey, you got other channels for that. So here it's all baseball 100% of the time. So until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.